A couple of days ago, I was at Target and I was browsing their shelf of jigsaw puzzles, and most of them were by Buffalo. Until I saw a box that just didn't look like a jigsaw puzzle, but still was published by Buffalo, which is, I guess, why they placed it there. But it was a jigsaw puzzle. It was a board game called 60 Second City. I was curious. I started looking at it. I also noticed the price was pretty affordable. It was less than $20, which seemed pretty impressive for a game with nice wooden bits, as you will see. And so I decided to give it a try. I played it with my kids one at a time because it is a two-player game. It's a game for only two players. It is cooperative, and you're gonna build a city in rounds that last exactly 60 seconds. The game is played in real time. You will need a timer, which is not included with the game, but most phones these days should be able to do that. Now, we have this board made of wood, very nice. The game is played in, again, 5 rounds. The goal is to complete a number of objectives represented by these cards. How many you're going to complete depends on the level of difficulty. The more objectives you face, the more goals you try to accomplish, the harder the game becomes. The standard game is 16, so you're going to shuffle these cards, and then during setup, you're simply going to remove 16. Boom, that's exactly 16. That's amazing. And then you will take 5 of those out and place them next to the board so that everybody can see them, and they represent things that you're trying to do. For example, I'm going to try to create exactly this pattern with these two kind of buildings, and these are the two with a space in between. Or this pattern, or I'm going to create a block zone of any shape as long as it contains at least 10 of these ones. Match that pattern, 4 residential places around the border of the board, 4 industrial neighboring any power plant. So again, I draw from the deck of, say, 16, I draw 5 and I place them in an area where both players can see them. And suppose these are the 5 that we got. The other ones stay there for later rounds. At the beginning of each round, I'm also going to roll these dice 3 times to place 3 pollution tiles. And simply read the dice as coordinates. So 2 blue and 5 red. 2 blue, 5 red. That one goes there. And we place one in 5 and 5. And another one in 2 red and 5. We won't be able to place tiles on those spaces, of course. Then you have the tiles themselves that you use to create the city. Now, usually you will take them out of the box, mess them all up, say place them. We use the lid as a tray, but for this demonstration, I can just keep them there. The point is that everybody knows the objectives, and now you start the timer for 1 minute. It will last exactly 1 minute, and play will start drawing tiles from the face-up pile or from a bag if you want to add one. You can draw them one at a time. So once you get one, you have to place it before you get another one. And you have to place them either adjacent with at least one side touching the city hall, the space that you see there in the middle of the board. And corners, just corners, don't count. That's not good enough. Or once you start having tiles, you can also place them adjacent, again, by at least by edge, not by at least an edge, not by a corner. And you have to place them like that so that your city will grow out that way. And you're going, again, really fast and really crazy that way. So that's how your city may grow after a while. And this is the general idea. After a minute, the timer will tell you that you took too long, and that's it. And then you score. And suppose this is what my city looks like on the end of the board, at the end of the round. I don't think I did very well because I was talking to you and placing things randomly. But still, at the end of the round, you simply look at the cards and you see if you completed any of the objectives. In this case, for example, did I at least place 4 industrial neighboring power plants? 1, 2, 3. I almost got that one. Oh, I think I actually did it. Booyah. So I completed that objective. 4 industrial neighboring power plants. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Booyah. Once I complete an objective, I discard it out of the game. Some objectives may allow me, if I complete them around the pollution, to actually remove the pollution. If I match the pattern, any pollution that is in between these two lines is removed. Once you scored, meaning you eliminated as many as those objectives as applicable, you simply reset the city, removing all of the city tiles, but not the pollution. The only way to remove pollution is, again, to complete the objectives, some of the objectives in that specific way. You remove these, then suppose that we have completed 3 objectives, so we still have 2 there, and simply go back to the goal deck and we draw enough to have 5 available. And then what else do we do to set up the next round? We roll the dice 3 more times to place 3 more pollution, and suppose that these are the results that we got. And then we're good to go. We're good to start round 2 again with 5 available objectives, play for a minute, and continue like this until, well, up to 5 rounds. If you're exceptionally good, you potentially may be able to complete it before round 5, but of course that's going to be pretty hard, and based on the number of cards, maybe even impossible. So, but this is the idea. This is a game with really nice components. These are nice wooden components, colorful, clear to read, very nice and pleasant. I'm just gonna put them randomly because I think they look so nice. And you have that domino feel, you know, maybe even that king domino. But you know, completely different flavors, since the game is cooperative, you're playing as a team, and the game is in real time. So it's a really nice looking game with nice components and very simple, very smooth, very intuitive, and yet fun and yet challenging gameplay, because you can change the difficulty and make the game as hard as you can. And initially, when you start playing, it really will be multiplayer solo. I'm doing my thing and you do your thing, and for some reason we realize that we're not quite achieving our objectives, and then you start truly communicating. Before the round starts, you have some general plans that you agree on, and of course, you cannot say, okay, I'm going to complete that card, you complete that card, because I may get in the tiles needed for one card, and you get the ones for the other. So you plan, and yes, still you need to improvise, and yet there's going to be true communication, because, well, suppose that we got this situation here, and I tell my partner, look, if you place things there, place them only orange. Don't place anything other than orange there. And my partner in crime says something similar, like, okay, if you find a blue, place it there, not there, and so on and so forth. So there's going to be communication as partial patterns emerge, and you want to make sure that your partner is not messing them up. If the game becomes a certain point, you find it becomes too samey, too repetitive, because of course, again, the beauty is the simplicity, but then that's placing tiles in a context of high pressure is all that the game is about. If you find it becomes a little too samey, then you got a deck of event cards that will change the rules from game to game, will give you different challenges. This is the advanced game. So between different levels of difficulty and event cards, actually you have more variety that you can, and maybe you imagine, to start with, plus working around the pollution, plus trying to complete the objectives, having to adapt the plans in real time. It is a game that I find quite pleasant, quite fun to play. Mind you, it's a simple filler. The box says like something about half an hour, 20 minutes. Really, with players working together to clean up the board to set up the next round, 10-15 minutes, you can play all 5 rounds, easy peasy. And it's quite enjoyable, so I recommend this for families. If you're gonna play with kids, I recommend it for couples, very good, because, you know, it's cooperative, so good vibes. No one gets to sleep on the couch because, there was a victory that felt too mean. You win together, you lose together. So definitely there, and also even if you're thinking for, a filler for hardcore gamers for game night, something you play as you're waiting for the friends to show up. Again, another good option. I really enjoy 60 Second City, a light, nice, and fun cooperative game.